Welcome back to MedTech's Biomed Regional Focus as we spend some time today focusing on Westchester and the Hudson Valley. And in this segment of our program, talking with some innovators in the region. I am pleased to welcome to this conversation Matus Knoblich, who is the CEO of both MedStat Consulting Services and Glo-Med Networks, Inc. Matus, welcome. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you for having me, Win.
So, Matus, we actually have a couple of companies to talk about, and I'm wondering if we could start the conversation in the way that we like to around here, and that is help us understand what was the problem, or what were the problems that you had identified and set out to solve when you created both MedStat Consulting Services and Glo-Med Networks.
So I'll start off with MedStat Consulting Services. We are a medical device services company, which would be considered a biomedical services firm. We focus on fixing medical equipment as a third-party provider. One of the big issues that we had identified, which allowed us to enter the market versus being an OEM provider, so this would be a major manufacturer such as a Hillrom Medical or Philips or Siemens, allowing us to come in as a regional family-based business where we provide support after hours and much more thoroughly, I would say, than the OEM providers. When you're dealing with a large medical corporation, you're typically going to get a voice message after 5 p.m. or before 6 a.m. and generally on the weekends. Being a small family-based business, we identify the problems of local area hospitals, being intimately involved with those local area hospitals as we are residents of the neighborhoods. We understand how those hospitals function in the local community, and we're able to provide needs to those local facilities as a local family-based business much more thoroughly and understandingly than a major multi-billion-dollar corporation. So that's realistically where we were able to come in. Furthermore, when you have local facilities, when they reach out and need to speak directly to the owner of the local family business, they could call me at any time. We'll always answer the phone. We always have somebody locally available to come on site and service their immediate needs. Typical example would be we do a lot of work with the Montefiore Medical Group. We had a call where there was a bariatric patient stuck on a hospital bed. And again, our focus at MedStat Consulting, half of our business is based on hospital beds. So we specialize in hospital bed repairs. We're probably I would say the largest regional bed service company in the New York area and also down in Florida. So we had a bariatric patient call coming at 2 a.m. on a early Sunday morning. The bed was stuck kind of like this with the patient's head down here. So they were upside down and quite a heavy patient. They needed somebody right away. Then they called us. Obviously, none of my staff were working at the time. So the call bounced over to me eventually. I picked up the phone, answered the call, and I was on site within the hour to unlock the bed and make sure that the patient could be comfortable for the rest of the evening. So I think certain components of that customized, tailor-fit service we provide to our clients and our communities where we work, that's really what gives us an advantage versus our competition.
And how about Glo-Med Networks? Tell me a little bit about that venture.
So Glo-Med Networks, we really were born as a used medical equipment device reseller. And as we were fixing medical equipment in organizations in New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and Florida, when the hospitals upgraded to new medical equipment, they would frequently reach out to us and say, hey, we've got new equipment coming in. We need to get rid of the old equipment. Can you help us get rid of it or dispose of it? Well, we've been servicing and maintaining this medical equipment for many, many years. So we knew it was very well taken care of and still had value, whether it was on the secondary market in the United States or international markets. So that's realistically where we started with sales domestically and internationally of the used medical equipment. And then we really started seeing there was a growth in the medtech sector of really novel medical technology that was coming out. So we were trying to position ourselves where we would be the preferred company to service this equipment through MedStat, but also to be the first to market with next generational medtech. So we started investing seed funding of next gen medtech of domestic and international companies. Really, sometimes where they just had a prototype on the medtech or just an idea, and we really helped them open up. That's why it's called Glo-Med Networks, our global medical network. Again, I've done a lot of business internationally. I have a very big network, healthcare globally. So we would introduce them to the right people, whether it was legal or marketing, FDA consulting and clearance, and help them develop this product to get it commercialized, and then work with them on a domestic and international distribution. Case example of this would be Inspira Technologies. It's a company that created a next-gen ventilator, where rather than having a ventilating tube in your lungs and then intubating a patient, putting them in a medically induced coma, this product puts a catheter and a canopy into the patient's jugular. Blood goes out, and they use external body blood gas exchange via a module. And the patient never has to be intubated, and they can be mobile throughout the hospital, where the unit is on a stand, and they can wheel it around with them as they move around the hospital. About 50% of deaths that come under ventilation are due to intubation. So if we can remove intubation, the idea there is we can significantly reduce the death case scenarios for ventilated patients. With this company, we IPO'd on the New York Stock Exchange last year, and now we've signed $270 million in distribution deals over the next 7 years for distribution in key states in the United States. We also have another company we're working with, Lenexa Medical. They created a next generation smart mattress. Obviously, we're with MedStat, we service medical equipment and we focus on hospital bed servicing. With Lenexa, they created a smart sheet that we then invested heavily in the company and worked with them on an evolution of taking that smart sheet, building the technology into a mattress, because we also manufacture medical mattresses at Glo-Med for sales to MedStat's clients. And the sensors within the mattress now, using AI algorithms and software, alert nursing to prevent bed sores and pressure ulcers. Also, we've worked in bed exit technology, where we alert when somebody exits a bed because the sensors are already in there. And we're working on being the first company in the world to do a proactive bed exit alert, where we're using the AI within the mattress to alert nursing when a patient will exit a bed. So it'll be a proactive bed exit alert. So a lot of really next generational med tech. There's about 9 other companies we're invested in. And again, it's a long process, sometimes 3 to 5 years from when we invest to when there's a product, if there's a product, because it doesn't always win. But we're really looking at that component and working with the New York area and Westchester hospitals to bring that technology there first, run the prototyping and basically our clinical trials there, and then work out the sales and distribution domestically and internationally. I say internationally because we have a Glo-Med company out in Switzerland for the European and North African markets, and we're currently working on opening a Glo-Med division in Saudi Arabia and Riyadh.
So, Matus, help me understand. Clearly, the number one issue that entrepreneurs, particularly in this space, deal with is connections to capital, right? Finding willing investors, particularly as you point out, given the often long runway from ideation to commercial product. You're unique as somebody who's on the ground, looking to make investments, is committed to this industry segment in New York. At the risk of making you sound like a unicorn, Matus, help me understand how did you recognize that this was, one, something that you wanted to get into, and two, something that made some sense for you from a business perspective?
So I think I have a degree in biochemistry, and I was in sales. I was going to go to medical school when I was younger, and going into business development and sales, I eventually ended up in Switzerland for about 6 years, where I was doing a lot of restructuring and rebuilding of businesses. And at that time, I really built up a network and saw what the global potential would be, whether it was med tech or anything else. But obviously, we had a family background with everything that was going on with MedStat. So I understood that there was a big need globally for healthcare. When we came back, I took all those connections I had made and I was working on leveraging those connections with entrepreneurs that were here and really were looking how to develop their products. I think a big issue obviously is funding, but the funding is there if you make yourself a coachable entrepreneur. I think a big issue is a lot of people invest in technology and not the people. And we've seen some of our investments fail because the technology was great, but the management team behind them was unreceptive to change, to adapt, lacked focus, and was really not, I would say, open to constructive criticism or working with investors. I think a key aspect to growth for entrepreneurs and to be able to get the funding they need to develop it is to really understand that nothing's going to happen overnight. You're going to have to make significant sacrifices to get your business to where it needs to be, and be overly receptive to what the investors are telling you, because a lot of investors are previous entrepreneurs, people who've built a business and built it successfully and then have sold it. So we've been there. We understand the complexities and the issues that are there. And at the end of the day, we also have a lot of advice and knowledge we're going to bring to the table that if a founder is receptive to and works actively and understands that the idea they have might be a great idea, it might be a great product, but it has to change and evolve with the reaction of the marketplace. That realistically will allow that product one day to be successful and for them to get the continuous funding as they develop the product and encounter hurdles and obstacles that they don't anticipate, which ultimately do bring greater expense to the development and drain bank accounts.
So let's turn our vision to the future. A year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. What's your vision for both MedStat and for Glo-Med? Where would you like to see those ventures go?
With MedStat, we're expanding rapidly right now. We're branching out into Ohio and Texas. So, as a service company that's focused on regional development, we're really pushing forward on putting key people in place and maintaining, even though we're going into other states, we're focusing on a regional office support in those states. We're not looking at just becoming this big, large corporation. We want to tailor make our services to our individual clients. So we're going to continue expanding, but strategically expanding at an organic and healthy pace. We don't want to have too many clients. We'd rather get strategic clients and grow with those clients in their markets. For Glo-Med, we're going to continue making investments, putting things into the pipeline. This year alone, we're on pace for another 7 investments. And we're going to continue investing and continue working on bringing these companies up. Again, we're very excited about opening a location out in the Middle East. We have a lot of distributors we work out with over there, and we want to be able to register the products ourselves and provide additional product into those markets where they really need the med tech. Also expanding our footprint in Europe and Northern Africa. And obviously in the United States, we are right now undergoing a 30,000 square foot medical logistics and manufacturing build out at Tampa Airport for the Florida market. And we also have a facility in Stamford, Connecticut for the New York and metropolitan area. And we're just looking to further expand our development for light manufacturing, distribution, and logistics within those markets, and continue bringing next generational medical technology to the forefront in New York and Florida, and really improve patient care and patient safety, and really change the game, turn things upside down a little bit. Because if you look at the real innovators, everybody told them they couldn't be successful, and everything they did was just, it's not the right time, it's not the right product. But look at the changes they've made. And you look at, what Elon Musk did with electric vehicles and how everybody's following that lead now. Realistically, having such innovators in the game, and look at what they're doing in outer space right now with what they're planning moving forward. This innovation, it's not always going to be profitable in the beginning, But if you really see the vision and get the right team behind it, again, invest in the entrepreneurs, the people, not so much the technology. Those people will make it work.
And then my last question for you, talk to me a little bit about the ecosphere, the life sciences ecosphere in the Hudson Valley. Is there something that you think our audience should know about being located in Westchester County or in the Hudson Valley that has been helpful to your success?
I think there's a lot of great opportunity here. You do have a very diverse network of people that live here. So, in terms of looking for skill sets of employees, I think there's opportunity for whatever you're looking for, whether it's everything from people with labor skills to people with marketing or sales skills to people with management skills and even innovation skills. Obviously, I discussed being a member of the Westchester Angels. We invest in local companies. So the ideas and the technology is coming out of Westchester. I think there's a lot of opportunity if you're looking for any sort of logistics or even light manufacturing. If you go to northern Westchester or the Hudson Valley, there's a lot of land available, and you also maintain a close proximity to the New York City area. So there's a lot of opportunity here. I think it's a great place to live as well, a great place to raise families. Also, a great place. You've got the beaches of Long Island. You've got the wonderful hiking of upstate. So, I mean, and then obviously, of course, in New York City. So, I think in terms of drawing talent, there's talent here. There's more talent that could be drawn here, and there's a lot of opportunity for everybody in the area. And that's why half our business is up here for that reason.
Well, Matus Knoblich, thank you so much from MedStat Consulting Services and Glo-Med Networks. This has been a fantastic conversation. For folks who are interested in connecting with Matus or learning more about both MedStat and Glo-Med, you can find more information at med-stat.com and at glomednet.com. Matus Knoblich, thank you for spending some time with us today.
Thank you for having me, Win.